Welcome back, Lunchmates, to our Hollywood pitch idea or video game pitch idea episode.
It's not Hollywood anymore.
No, it's not. It was the option, but we're all video gamers, not movie makers. So yeah,
A lot easier.
yeah, we all decide to pitch a video game to it. And remember, we're all here to sign. So if you want our movie, just tell us, and we'll.
Yeah.
This intro is going great.
And we can use any IP, right? Anything.
Yeah, we can use anything we want.
As long as it's not already used as, right?
As long as you like slightly change it, as long as it's not just reading off the script, like.
You know, yeah.
Guys, my game is actually Super Mario Galaxy.
My game is Wii Sports. So there's.
Oh yeah, I guess you can't copyright a sport, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Oh,
But
nice.
the difference is you have to use your left hand. There you go.
Ah, yes. Much more challenging.
Yeah. Alright. Alec, you want to go first with your.
Yeah, sure. So, I guess if we were talking about deciding to make, we were talking before about making either a movie or a video game, and I guess most of us went towards the video game route. So, I was also a part of that team. So, I decided.
The team of everybody.
Yes, exactly. So I know I was talking to you before, Kenny, and I was asking Kenny, like, hey, does it have to be like completely original, or can we kind of base it off of something that already, a game that already exists, and maybe just kind of build off of it? So Kenny said, yeah, go for it. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I am a huge Castlevania fan, so I was thinking, okay,
Spaghetti.
spaghetti, yo. And so I was trying to think, okay, I don't have enough time to, I don't know if I have enough time to create an original thing. So I'm gonna decide to, you know what,
That's creative enough.
yeah, I just wanted to, I've always had this cool interpretation of, like, a Castlevania game I would make. So here it is. I wanted to make a Castlevania open world canon game with Simon Belmont, and it's almost like a remake and a revamp of the original Castlevania game that was in the 80s. So I shall explain why it's different and what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so it's technically a reimagining of the original Castlevania game featuring Simon Belmont. The way I'm visualizing it, it would be an open world Castlevania game where you don't necessarily have to follow the story right away. Yes, the game will guide you for, like, example, you know how like in Pokemon Legends Arceus, there was an open world aspect of it, but obviously there was that limitation to how much you can progress. You could go anywhere, but I mean,
You can't go to a higher level area because you'll get stomped.
Yeah, exactly. So to maybe make this make more sense, the gameplay or mechanics would be similar to that of, let's say, Breath of the Wild, Legends Arceus. For Castlevania fans, Castlevania Lords of Shadow or Castlevania 64. Maybe even Lament of Innocence. For those who don't know those games, they're closer to an open world Castlevania game, but without going too much into the nitty-gritty, it still wasn't freeing. Like, you could walk around and stuff, but it was like you were surrounded by walls and you kind of had to follow the story. So they aren't exactly, and they also aren't exactly part of the Castlevania canon. So to get to the bottom of it, my gameplay and what the whole thing is really about. So the game's underlying story would be the original Castlevania game where Simon Belmont must enter Dracula's castle to destroy him and his reign of terror once again, as the current heir of the Belmont family. Graphics, I was thinking more like it would be similar to that of the Smash Ultimate design, where, and especially I want to see it where it's like how we saw it in his reveal trailer for him and Richter, like that whole cinematic kind of like ability, like that's the level of graphics I want. Like I thought that was sick, like similar to the cinematic trailer. Like that's what I'm talking about as far as what I would want it to look like. However, unlike how in the original version of the game you don't spawn directly inside the castle, I would love to have an open world map of all of Transylvania where you spawn in a village where you begin your journey from, like far away from the Count's castle.
That's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
like the idea of an open world vampire game.
Yeah,
I like the
right.
idea of just an open world game. I like those
Yeah,
better.
well, that's the thing. And so because of this choice, I thought it would give us some fun gameplays in like preparation, combat training, discovering and adventuring the land of Transylvania and its demon-infested grounds, discovering the Belmont history along the way, gathering supplies, making camps, cutscenes, all of that jazz. You know what I'm saying? You like jazz? Yeah. Yeah, and so as an example, to not go into like so much detail, as I mean, I could talk about this forever, guys, but like as a possibility, one thing that would be cool would be to take on requests from inhabitants. So like think of it sort of like how Legends Arceus works with optional requests. Like for example, you're Simon, you're on your way to making your way to Dracula's castle. You get word that a local village has fallen to the most recent attack of night creatures, and that a reward is in it for you if you choose to do it. So this won't be a mandatory quest, but it earns you coin or treasure for your success. So taking your time to also walk around, learn about the region, and possibly history about the creatures and their weaknesses, right? So it's almost like you're kind of you're
Very similar to The Witcher, isn't it?
yeah, I guess so, except it's kind of like Castlevania sort of based.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, and so yeah, on top of all this, I would think it would be pretty cool to add like consequences for your action as a mechanic as well. So like, let's say you as Simon are en route and happen to wipe out a couple of vampires or night creatures or whatever on your path, causing so much commotion or not being able to destroy the creatures in time could result in like reinforcements and word of your whereabouts. So that would cause more like difficulty. Like they'd bring in more like ghouls or like flea men, like any creature from the original 1980s video game, right? Obviously with better graphics and whatever. Eventually, as you make your way across Transylvania, the time will come where you, from a small bit of guidance from the game, make your way to Dracula's castle, where from there, the original game becomes familiar. So going through the same castle as it was in the original game, all the while having updated graphics and mechanics. So like, what I'm getting at is like, it can fit, like, once you get into the castle, and it's already like end game at that point, once you're in the castle, it's pretty much the exact same game as the original Castlevania game, but everything before it, like 90% of everything else, is like pre-story, and it'll kind of just reveal history about the Belmonts, and just kind of get you to create bigger levels with you, gain more experience, strengthen Simon and whatever, so that when you get into the castle, you're set. And it's still open, it's still kind of that open world view once you're in it, so it's not like the original where it's like a platformer. It's like you can actually go in and like move about the castle and whatever. Last thing I want to add, like, okay, as a mega Castlevania fan myself, and it being like one of my all-time favorite game series, before thinking about this, I was like, okay, why mess with a classic? And like, I'm right there with all of the Castlevania fans. Me creating this concept is in like no way saying it could ever beat the original, but as like a fun sort of little thought and a what if for the sake of the episode, I thought, this would be sort of cool. And as far as canonicity, I don't think it would conflict at all with the timeline itself. I would see it fit in the exact same spot as the original game, because it would be literally the same story, but with just an added, lore and adventure gameplay that doesn't create any new additional story. Just giving gamers more insight into what we already know, or for those getting into the series, don't know about Simon, and make them into a fan in a new age of Castlevania. So that's pretty much my game idea.
I think that's kind of cool. It gives me vibes of like Pokemon Gen 2, where like you do all of Johto and then you go back and you do Kanto, and it's like the first one, but things are slightly different. Except it's like reverse for yours, where you see like a whole new game at the beginning, and then at the end it's like the whole original Castlevania, just with like revamped graphics and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And what I was thinking too was it would be cool like on your journey, because if you've played the original Castlevania game, there are like bosses for each I guess end room. I think there's like about like, I can't remember, like I think 7 levels. I've beaten the game, but like there's like a boss at the end of each room in the castle. And so I was thinking it would be cool on your way, you kind of like start learning about like the like word of mouth of like these like unnatural beings inside of like Drax's castle, and you start preparing like, okay, what is this creature? How can I prepare for it? What are its weaknesses, right? Because if you've played the original, kind of like Mega Man, Simon has like certain weapons that you get that is super effective against each villain, whether it be Frankenstein and the Flea Man or the Mega Bat in the beginning. Like there are certain weapons that will help you beat them faster. So I think it would be cool, like as you kind of prepare on your journey and like talk to local villagers and people who might know more about like the darker secrets of Transylvania around you, you can gain insight into, okay, this is how I can do it. But I also want to keep it true to the lore. Like, I mean, villagers don't know anything about these creatures. It's mainly the Belmont family that have like hoarded these secrets for so long. So a lot of the knowledge would come from lost archives of like, let's say, you going
rumors, kind of.
yeah, and like in the show on Netflix, there is a Belmont family home. So I would want him to kind of like maybe eventually find the Belmont hold, and that's where he would find a lot of his information, right? And I don't know, maybe to add like a little bit of like quest action, like a lot of the information will have to be unlocked. So depending on, I guess, what level you're at, then you could venture in deeper into the Belmont archives, right? And like start, okay, this is what this is, right? So, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Feel like you could still include like the townspeople if it's more like you get to a point where you find out that at some point you're gonna have to fight someone who's weak to this particular item, and one of the townsfolk is like adept at using that particular item, so you go to him to like train up, knowing that later you'll have to use it.
Oh, that would be cool. I would be so down to add that. Yeah, and that's what I like. I want to kind of give it that like that where you feel like you're a part of the world, and it's not just like again, nothing that anything was wrong with it. Like I'm saying, like this game that I'm creating would no way beat the original because it's just a classic. But as a fun little thing, like it would be cool to kind of get some more insight on like, oh yeah, I've talked to this guy. He kind of recommended this, thing. Just like in what's it called, Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest. That was kind of its first expansion into like talking with townsfolk and them actually giving you secrets on this is where you can find Dracula's heart or eye or whatever. So yeah, I really like that concept. But
all right, nice, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you for my
game I played.
Thank you for my Castlevania show and tell, guys. Miss Teacher. But yeah, that's
I thought.
that's me.
Once again, I thought I'm up next. So, the game I decided to choose, I had to make a game based on Game of Thrones, right? If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, it's a big world. Okay, it's a lot of moving parts to it, right? So the way I envisioned the game to be would be like an open world game, like Alex said, right? But it's kind of the choice-based games where the things you make affect the whole world, affect your final ending, whatever, stuff like that, right? It'd be that type of game where, okay, so if you got on the screen, you'll see a map, but if you guys see the map, right, Game of Thrones, right, you can see the map. You see on the left side of it, it's all the pink. That's where most of the show takes place, right, where everything happens. In the game, if you wanted to, you could start on the right side and then be like a soldier and like try to go up the ranks from the Dothraki and try to like, I don't know, invade the left side as like a warrior if you want, right? But if you don't, you could be like part of the Seven Kingdoms, be like a royal knight, or be a soldier if you want. The main thing I thought it was cool because Game of Thrones has a lot of like I said in like I was talking about, like similar to Stranger Things, has a lot of moving parts, right? So there'll be one storyline where they'll be in a mountainous winter place, right? There'll be another storyline they'll be in the desert. There'll be another storyline they'll be doing something else, right? If let's say you pick a game, you start the game and you want to be in the north, right? And you want to do that storyline with Jon Snow, have fun with him and all those people. You can do that, right? But the rest of the world, the rest of the storyline of Game of Thrones will still go along, will still happen while you're doing everything. So, for example, how to say this? For example, in season 2, there's a war between 5 kingdoms, between 5 kings, and they're all fighting. And at one point, there's 2 kings going to battle, right? And one of them wins, right? So in the game, let's say you pick the side of the losing king, right? So no matter what, you're gonna go to that. You're gonna go to that. Like you're gonna play that part of the game where you go into battle against that kingdom, and your team's gonna lose, right? No matter what level you are, you're gonna lose by maybe just by numbers. So like your side has no people, and it's like 2 people, whatever, right? So you can either decide to stay and then die, and then game over, you lose, or you could like give up and try to join the ranks. You could run away and try to become like a lone warrior, just on the side, like, oh yeah, my king died, so I have no thing to worry about anymore. You could become an assassin if you want to. Um, in Game of Thrones, there's like a certain cult where, because normally if you die, you die, right? But in Game of Thrones, there's a certain cult where it's worship like a sun god. If you join them, you don't die. When you die, you can come back to life, right? So if you join them in your gameplay or whatever, you can join them and then you just won't die throughout your gameplay, right? But you have some consequences. Like let's say you join them, you can't join any other kingdom now because you pledge allegiance to the sun god, so you can't die, right?
Right.
Or stuff like that. So I thought it was cool that as you go on, you can make decisions that affect the storyline of Game of Thrones, right? So let's say some characters were supposed to win a battle, or some characters were supposed to live to a certain part, right? Let's say your character comes in and kills another character, like Jon Snow's friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Game of Thrones, by the later season, Jon Snow wants to like help. There's these people called the Free Folk, or like the Castle Wall, but he wants to like be teamed up with them to like help them fight off the White Walkers. So let's say early on, your character just join off a little skirmish, kills one of his friends, right? Alright, now this Jon Snow's like, you know what? I don't like these guys anymore because like they killed my friend or whatever. So instead of him helping you guys later on against people, he would like, nah, I don't want to help you guys. So that part of the game would be a little harder because you have no backup, right?
Oh, you can like influence the actual events of the show.
Yeah, you can, but some events are going to happen no matter what.
Oh,
right?
so like you know the end point of the plot basically if you've watched the show, but like things in the middle or like will change.
But okay, things in the middle, and as it goes further on to the end of the end of the game, there'd be some differences there too. But more or less the same thing happen. Like in season 4, Tyrion, he gets accused for killing someone and he leaves the kingdom, right? That's going to happen no matter what. In the main game, that's going to happen no matter. He's going to leave the kingdom, right? What you can do that can help him, either you can help him leave, or you can join him, or you can be like, I don't want help or whatever. But he's leaving no matter what. See what I'm saying?
You changed the terrible ending of Game of Thrones.
With enough, that's the goal of the game. With enough changes.
To make up for the show.
You can just instantly kill Bran the Broken.
No, you can't. So some characters gotta stay alive. In the early game, you can't kill off some of like the main character because of, think about it. Like imagine because when you start the game, you can like roll a dice, right? If you want to be like a royalty, you have like a 1 in 100 chance of it giving it to you, or you get a random roll, right? But if you want to be like a common person, you have like a 98% chance of you're going to get what you want, right? So if you're a lower class person, when you start the game, you'll for sure get that, as opposed to you rolling the dice to getting someone higher, right? But let's say you get like a swordsmith, and you're just a normal blacksmith, and you want to kill the Bran the Broken, as you're saying, Kenny, right? You would have to get to him, but there are guards protecting him, and you're just a blacksmith, right? You don't have anything yet, so you're just gonna die. Right? But let's say you
like
talking over each other.
Sorry.
Exactly, bro. You can't. But Alec, exactly. Imagine you go to Bran, you try to kill him, and immediately 2 guards come up and you just die. Do nothing.
I know that's what I was thinking. I was like, just imagine going up to Bram like as like a lower level. The guards just look at you, you laugh, and just utterly box you off of the earth.
Exactly. But let's say you train to be like a knight, and then I don't know, like 20 levels later, you're one of the knights guarding Bran, and then you can be like Kenny. My plan, I can finally execute it. Bang, you kill him. And then after that you're on the run because they're after you. You kill them.
Is it somewhat similar to like how in Red Dead Redemption, if you like kill someone, like you're wanted and like a bunch of like people will come after you?
Yeah.
Is it kind of is that kind of like that same? That's cool. I kind of like that.
Yeah. Especially if you kill someone who is like
Higher up.
royalty.
Yeah.
They're gonna make sure. And then if you do something, let's say you do it in like the west side where he's from, that whole pink area, you're no longer safe there because like they'll know who you are. They'll come after you. You'd have to leave that place, like come all over to another continent, and like essentially start up again from level 1 because you don't have anything here. You know.
Right.
And then you can go back. You can go back later on if you want, but like you only got enemies back there, so you can go. You're gonna have to come back with the whole fleet. You know, whole army with you.
That's cool. I actually really like that concept. I like the idea of like making sure you kind of build up before you actually attempt to do anything like out of your league in a way.
Yeah, because you can't just go like, oh, I'm gonna cheese my way through it. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, it
Even
adds some
the-
structure. It adds some structure.
Yeah, even the coming back to life thing, like that. There's literally one character in Game of Thrones who like dies like 15 times and comes back to life because of his son guy. So let's say you join him and be like him, and you just keep dying, come back to life. It doesn't make you any stronger because like you're just still
Losing.
weak. Yeah, you're just losing. You know what I'm saying? And there's also people who have like there's a woman who has aging magic who makes herself look young, or the people who have like fire magic that straight up has magic, right? There's one guy with like he makes potions. You can do whatever you want, really, as long as it's in Game of Thrones and it makes sense, right? I was saying I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool that you could like join certain battles if you wanted to, certain sides you wanted to join. I also thought it was cool that you could be like they're about to like land ladies and lords of land, like own land. So let's say you become high enough in the ranks, you become a lord. Now you got your own land, got your own army, and then when like I don't know, the White Walkers come in, they'd be like, oh well, you have this land now. You're no longer just a troop. You gotta like be like what's the game called? Not Game of Thrones, Fire Emblem, where you're like making sure your troops are moved properly and spaced out, because you're no longer just a multiple member. You're like commanding a whole group of people, and each can go inside and fight alongside. But like beforehand, you gotta make sure everything's set up when before the game will do it for you because you weren't high up yet.
Right.
Pretty intriguing.
Nice.
I don't even know Game of Thrones. I'd probably still play that.
I definitely would. That sounds like my kind of game, my guy.
I mean,
And
it's
one
probably
last-
better that I don't know it, so I can't cheese the game and be like, yeah, what's
Yeah,
your faction that never dies?
And one last thing I thought would be really fun. If you start the game in the kingdoms, they all have laws, so you can't just go on killing regular people. Well, I mean, you could, but
Get arrested.
exactly, right? But let's say you're a free folk, right, who live above the wall. Their laws are a little more lenient, so to
As
say.
in, they
So-
don't have any.
They do, but like it's a little more lenient. So let's say you somehow get over the wall and you get into the north or whatever. You can do it's free game. You can do whatever you want. If you're walking, you see some guy in his farm taking care of his horses, you can take him down, claim his farm, and just keep moving, taking down people as far as you can. See how far that takes you. I thought it'd be fun because you're not logged down by like, oh man, I can't kill this person because my characters physically can't because of laws or whatever.
I'd probably play in the law-abiding place.
I would too, man. Keep it simple, keep it safe, slowly build up.
Probably do two games. One where I am doing law abiding, and the next where I'm just chaos.
Where Kenny is literally like destruction.
hunter.
Like he's literally
one axe at hand.
honestly, Kenny is literally the hot spot and the hot commodity of all of that land. Going, guys, our top wanted individual, get him.
we need to take him out.
We need to take him out quickly and efficiently.
Can you start the game and immediately be wanted through all the lands?
He just presses start and then immediately on his game, like the game will know Kenny's gonna do it. It's just immediately wanted.
But yeah, that's the game.
Nice.
It gives you a lot of freedom, not in the beginning, but by the end of it, you can potentially make whatever ending you want.
I like that.
If you have to play with it.
I'd play that.
I like that. I'd play that too.
Nice on.
For my game, I basically wanted to do Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 for the PS4. I wanted to rewrite the stories as they So the first Spider-Man happens as usual. Miles gets his powers and Peter takes down Doc Ock. In the second Spider-Man's training Peter, right? He's noticing that he's a little jealous. Miles has got all these cool powers and Peter doesn't. So then Peter gets venomized. He gets the venom onto him.
He just chooses to do that.
Well,
Like, yeah.
It attaches to him. Same in the
Yeah.
comics, it just attaches to him. He's in Osborn working, and it just attaches to him.
After Deadpool.
Yeah, sure. So as the game continues, we can see Peter getting more angry and more jealous and a bit more hatred. All while at the same time he's trying to figure out this new character flying around on this glider.
Goblin?
Yeah.
Pikachu!
Yes, it's Pikachu. Yeah, and the whole time he's also training Miles, and we can switch back and forth between Peters and Miles throughout the game.
Cool.
Kind of like that new Gotham Knight game coming up.
Nice.
Okay.
So while Peter's trying to figure out who this guy flying around is, Miles is trying to figure out why is Peter getting so grumpy and angry and hatred.
Looks like
Yeah.
someone's down in the grumpy grumps.
So throughout the game, they take on mini bosses together and each have their own little side bosses.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Does
So
Miles
my-
get to fight Spider Venom?
Ooh.
That my two final big bosses are gonna be that.
Oh,
So-
okay.
So yeah,
Daniel's like already ahead of Kenny. Like it's like
Miles is trying to fight Peter, but since he has the Venom, Peter's dominating.
Is Venom not affected by like his Venom strike?
A little bit, but he's still strong enough to just still
Yeah.
beat him.
Venom
Okay.
eats it. Keeps
Like
going.
during the fight, that's what you have to do to weaken him,
Oh, I
kind of
see.
thing. But you're still losing.
Okay.
So Peter's about to kill Miles.
As you do.
Yeah, as a rage and angry Peter, and as a superhero movie, Miles and MJ talks him down, kind of thing. And gets
Better than
so
Peter. Don't do it. No, you got it.
so Peter loses the Venom.
Okay.
At the next, right after it attaches to the new character Green Goblin.
Wait, what?
The
This
glide
Goblin
again.
gets Venom?
Yeah.
This story took a
Gliding, yeah.
turn.
Sure, why not?
So Peter and Miles have to fight together.
Boss.
Yeah, and as I said, you switch between the two. Do like combo moves.
Wait, mid-fight you switch between the two?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
So it's like it's a 2v1 against this Venom
Yeah.
goblin.
So then, in the end, Peter sacrifices himself to defeat Green Goblin, so he dies.
As
Okay.
he does.
Yeah.
So then, I was gonna have an end credit scene where you just hear a voice say "Now, do it now."
What? What does that
Yeah.
mean?
You'll see. So I got the third Spider-Man as well, as I said. So we start off in Peter's funeral with Miles.
Okay.
Okay.
It's
Wait,
like a
Peter
weird-
dies? Did I
Yeah, I
miss
said
that? Oh, okay, I missed
I
that.
missed that too.
I said he sacrifices himself to defeat
Oh,
the
okay,
Goblin.
okay.
To defeat Venomized Goblin. Yeah, we start off in Peter's funeral, right? So Miles is sad and also worried about being the only Spider-Man,
Mhm.
right? And the weight of continuing on the Spider-Man legacy.
He's just really scared that now he has all the big bosses on his name.
Yes.
It's like, dang, if Peter was here, they just focus on him. It's like, well, great, now I have to take care of them.
Yes, exactly what happens. So Miles has to leave halfway through Peter's funeral because he gets a little call on his on the police scanner that there's a break-in or a heist at the police evidence lock.
Okay.
So that the first mission is you chasing down these criminals, but they get away.
What? Are you bad?
They try to like blow up, like they basically like do distractions and like to injure civilians, and you have to go save the civilians instead.
Okay.
But what they got away with was evidence for the Kingpin.
Oh, so this man is back?
Yeah. So that's the third game. Is you have to deal with Peter's death and deal with his greatest villain, the Kingpin, as you're the reason why he's escaped, or not escaped, but let go.
Is that the greatest villain?
One of.
Okay, so tell me, what does Kingpin do then? Because we see Spider-Man beat him in the first game, like physically. So like, what is Kingpin doing in this game to like be such a threat?
Same thing as he always. He's the criminal mastermind. Has his hands in everything.
So is it like sending other villains to do like bad
Sending
stuff?
other villains, sending other goons, trying to basically become the criminal mastermind once again.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that's the whole battle. Is you trying to take him down.
Kingpin's like, I did not like how I got disrespected in the first game. I'm
How
back.
How he had very little screen time in the first game.
I like him.
You got eaten in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So we get a true Kingpin, as powerful as he is.
Sorry, I might have missed it in the second game that you mentioned. So does Green Goblin die then?
He dies or gets captured. He vanishes. We'll say.
It's irrelevant.
We'll leave it open. We'll leave it open for interpretation and or sequel.
Well, you'd think that if he had the symbiote with him, like, or I guess okay, I'm assuming they're compatible, I guess, but not exactly.
Alec. There was a fire, but there was no body found. We'll leave it like that.
Explosion, no body found. You know.
Yeah.
So the villain goes from being Green Goblin with the symbiote to a big man.
But you have two of them to compare to one.
No, then get it right. It started off with Miles and Peter. Then it became Peter, evil Peter with Venom. Then it became Green Goblin, then Venom Goblin, and then Kingpin, because Goblin just died, disappeared, it doesn't matter.
He's gone. We don't need to bring him back.
He's gone until the next, game or so.
He can be in the DLC.
Yeah.
The DLC.
Come back. DLC. You're the first boss.
Yeah, he's the first boss in the DLC. Gets rolled in like the first fight.
Yeah, so that's my continuation basically of the Spider-Man game.
I do like the double fight against Kingpin. That's cool.
Yeah.
The switch in between.
Yeah. I thought that was a cool.
Yeah, man.
I'd
play that game.
Okay.
Watch them do that for the next Spider-Man game.
Actually, they're currently watching to get ideas.
Yeah.
All my fee would be is 10% of the profits plus a game and a PS5.
That's probably more than you think. 10% of the profits.
Yeah, I think 1% is probably enough.
It's up for negotiation. It's up for negotiation.
You're like, look, if you want the Venom symbiote on
Alright.
the Green Goblin,
let's roleplay, okay? I am the person that you're trying to negotiate with, and you're the game idea creator. So how you plan this?
Like I said, that's my starting offer.
What's this? Sorry.
There is no
Hey,
plan.
hey, Kenny.
10%. I copy the game on the PS5. That's his offer.
Okay, Kenny. How about we do something more level-headed? How about we do 0.5% of profits?
More like, how about we take the characters that we own and do what we want with them, and you get nothing?
Kenny, is there any counter offer?
4% plus the PS5 and the game.
All right, Kenny. Thanks for your time. It looks like we will not be using, not be forming a contract with you, but we'll be using your idea. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
So basically, welcome to the TLT lesson on how to not negotiate with a big 10 corporation.
Yeah, Kenny. Sorry, just before you leave the door and take a sip of that Voss water, do you have a multi-million-dollar worth of lawyers? $1 billion lawyers?
I can beat him. It's fine.
Ah.
with no lawyer, just yourself.
No.
Alright, Kenny, it was nice talking to you. Maybe we'll see you later.
I think it's gonna cost them more in lawyer fees than to accept my thing.
Guys, did anyone just miss? I don't think Kenny meant beat as in like law work. I mean, Kenny just meant physically beat.
Bro.
It's like, don't make me go down there.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so my game isn't like all of y'all's game because I didn't just take something and make it better. I took something in my brain and let it out. So my idea, as much as you're gonna think it's Phasmophobia, it's not. Okay, it's not Phasmophobia. It's an open world game where you are a mystery hunter, kind of, but you're looking for like creatures, right? So in the game, most of the creatures are divided into like 3 categories, and it's like cryptids, like Bigfoot, there's ghosts, and aliens. And then there's bosses, but I'll get into that in a little bit. You have like your basic items, you have your EMF meter, your camera, you have a stun gun, and you have a radio. And they're all important for like the various different creatures. And like, I didn't really think too much of the story, but there is going to be a main plot in which you'll fight the bosses on. But the main allure of the game is that you're on Earth, right? So you could go basically anywhere you want, and there will be different creatures depending on like actual lore and myths in our world. Like you'll have to go to like, I don't know, the mountains, right, to find a Yeti. And if you take a picture or you get physical evidence of it, you get money. And once you get physical evidence and you're connected to the internet, it'll come up as hints in other players' games. Like in their games, it'll be like, oh, something was spotted in this, and then it'll show a picture you took in your game.
Oh,
So
cool.
It's like a big interactive thing too.
So, sorry, is it multiplayer then?
So in the way I've thought of it is multiplayer, but the way I've thought about it is that you can either A, go to each other's world, or B, you could combine the worlds and play together. But that like comes with some things. You have to combine worlds if you want to share items and money, and the bosses will scale their difficulty based on how many players are in your world.
Right.
So you can't have like,
that makes sense.
you can't just have 2 people and dominate kind of thing.
Yeah, but
exactly,
like all of
Charlie.
the like creatures that are out there don't scale. So like if you want to get a picture of like a particular type of ghost, you could just go to that place and get it more easily. It's only in the like main story points that it gets harder.
Right.
And
I like
so
that.
The whole point of the game is to get pictures of things, like Pokemon Snap.
It's either pictures or physical evidence. So the way I've laid it out is that for some creatures like ghosts you can't catch, right? So you have to get a picture of it or like a video of something happening. Whereas with like sorry?
What are you then? Are you like
You're like a mystery hunter.
Oh, are you just recording all these things?
Well, okay,
Getting
so
that-
you have your basic items, but as you get more money, you could buy things like cages or traps. So like
Oh,
or like
to
a
really
spirit
get them.
board. Yeah, if you go out and you use your stun gun and shoot Bigfoot enough times, you can catch it and you can keep it in your main base in like an enclosure sort of
Bring it
thing.
back with you.
Can I steal from other people's base?
You cannot, but if your worlds are combined, then with one player catches a thing, it's in your collective base.
This
And I feel like
Kenny's
I feel like you
main-
should be able to steal. It just be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kenny's objective in any multiplayer game is to just utterly wreck any other teammate you has on his team.
Hey, it's easier to steal an unconscious Bigfoot than it is to make Bigfoot unconscious.
No, it's not unconscious. Once you bring it back, it's like in an enclosure. It's kind of like
okay.
it's kind of like Luigi's Mansion where you could like view the ghosts you've caught, and they're like,
Cool.
yeah. So
kinda like
Do you like
zoo.
fight? Do you like
Yeah.
fight back, or like once you capture them, it's kind of like done deal?
no, once you capture them, it's basically for aesthetic. Like you get to
Okay.
look at them in your base, and maybe you could interact with them, like feed them or something.
Okay,
But,
okay.
Nice.
yeah, but that's kind of like collectibles at that point. But that's only for that category of creature, the ghosts and alien. Well, actually, you could catch an alien, but they're like the hardest class to deal with.
Hmm.
So
That makes sense.
I'll get into that in a little bit. The EMF meter, it has 9 upgrades, and basically all it is that it helps you detect more powerful ghosts, and the highest one is the 10th upgrade, in which or the 9th, in which you can detect demons, right? The camera's upgrades are night vision, heat detection, zoom, like a very high zoom function. Like if you see something on a peak of a mountain, you could zoom in and take a picture. That would also work for UFO sightings. And
that's so cool.
yeah, and a flash stun, which is a defense thing. So, like if something charges at you, you could flash at it and it'll stun it. And then there's an unseen mode for the camera, which just means that invisible creatures will become visible on the camera.
Okay, that makes sense. That's nice.
So I'm
ghost.
assuming, like a ghost.
Yeah, like a demon, you wouldn't be able to see on a camera unless you have that.
Oh, I have a question. In this game, are there different classifications for demons? Like, are there physical being demons, and obviously, like you said, like ghost-like demons, or are they just all spirits?
I'll get into that in a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay.
I'm just gonna finish the items real quick.
Yeah.
The stun guns upgrades are just better range, a rapid fire, and a tracking round. So the tracking round, if you shoot something and it runs away, you could track it for like 10 minutes before it goes dead or something. And then there's a radio, but it doesn't have upgrades. The radio's main function is aliens. So aliens are the worst as in like they give you the most money if you get evidence of an alien. But if you encounter one in person, it's very, very dangerous. So your best shot for any alien encounters is to see a UFO in the sky, take a picture of it. But the radio will malfunction if you get close to an alien or an alien parasite, and that's how you track them. But again, you might not want to because they could kill you pretty easily.
You just try to like keep your distance while tracking, right?
Yeah, like if there's someone walking around and when you walk by your radio goes crazy, it's likely that it's either an alien parasite infecting the person or it's a reptiloid, which is like a lizard person.
Reptiloid. I love the people who set up the thing. Why did they set it up? The hell?
So then for ghosts, there's possessed humans. So it's another, like if you walk past somebody, it's as a very low chance that they're possessed. And then there's demons, which is like a rank 10 ghost. And there are different demons, but they're essentially the same strength. So these you can't defend against them. There's nothing you could do about it, but they stay in one place, so they're very easy to find. So like if you mess up, you could keep coming back to the same location, keep finding it. Unless it's like a possessed person, it roams.
Could you? Okay, I have a question. Because I really like this concept. So let's say you have like a possessed person, right? And I'm assuming that like okay, if they're in a house, like if it's like a residence of a house, I guess they would stay in there. Or I know you said like they would kind of roam. Can you, or is your job like to help them? Like, can you perform an exorcist on the person, or?
I haven't thought too deeply. Apart from, I'm thinking you can, if you pay enough money, you can hire an exorcist, and it would basically just be like it sends it to this person's house, and there's a chance that it works, in which they would pay you for it or something. And if it doesn't work, then you'd lose your money.
Okay, so it's kind of like you're hiring someone to take care of it.
Yeah, you wouldn't do it yourself because you're not good enough, I guess.
Yeah.
What happens if a ghost gets you or a demon gets you? Do you just die?
What? If you're possessed or if it kills you?
If you're possessed. So like, let's say you're doing like a 2-player.
Possessed, it's essentially a death. But if you're in multiplayer and you get possessed or you get an alien parasite, the other player can like save you.
Okay, that's all one day.
And then the final one is the Cryptids, which is like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Chupacabra, Wendigo. These are the ones you can actually fight. You could hit them with a stun gun, and they're easily caught on camera, but they're very hard to find. Like, if it's a giant woods, you might be able to find like one thing roaming. And since it roams pretty randomly, you'd have to be lucky to find it.
Are they fast? Or is some of them faster than it varies?
It depends. It varies. Like I'd say like a Wendigo would be very fast. Bigfoot would be more.
I feel like a chupacabra would be. And once it casts a glance at you, it's on you.
Yeah.
That'd be sick, man. That'd be sick. Oh my god. Imagine,
Can you
like,
can you
imagine.
can you climb trees and stuff? Cause let's say like you're in a wooded area, you climb a tree, you use the like you see like you hide up, use the camera, you just see one roaming. They won't spot you, would they?
Oh, so that's actually a good idea for stealth. I thought of it. It would be a little bit of survival because you have a health meter, a hydration meter, and a stamina bar. And the health is just you die. Hydration is only goes down if you're in a very hot place like a desert. If you're looking for like a chupacabra or like a jungle or something. And then stamina, you can increase your stamina the more you use it.
Oh, you use
So
it.
yeah, so like the more you run in the game, the higher it'll
Higher
eventually
stats.
get.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like it'll
why-
eventually level up. So like it's like running in real life. The more you run, the
Okay.
longer you can run.
Shit, but why wouldn't you run everywhere?
No, you would. I'm just saying. So like early game, you might not be able to escape some
Run very
things
fast.
or run
Yeah.
fast. But
Oh,
late
I
game,
see.
you're better equipped for that.
Alright, so if you see Bigfoot early, you can't. The chase won't be that long. But if
Yeah,
you
you
see him
might be able
later,
to catch a picture of it like on a long camera
I
or
see.
something, but you can't
I'll-
probably capture it.
I
I'll
think that
take you
would
for
be.
the.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kliji.
I'll take for the hydration. You said it only works for in a desert, right? Let's say you're in a forest, and the whole climbing tree I was talking about. So let's say some of your stamina goes down from climbing the tree, and then
Yeah.
you set up base in the tree, and you're like, I'm gonna sit out here and wait for him. Let's say how long, right? You wait for like a couple hours for how long the game is. Your hydration starts coming down because like you have no water, you didn't drink anything, or your
Yeah,
stamina
I can
comes
say
down because like you
that's
didn't eat
fair.
anything.
Yeah.
And then you could like drink some water, but that's like maybe like 2 bottles of water to fill it up. Uh, eventually you gotta come down.
Also sanity
Yeah.
too.
Okay, that's a good idea actually.
Sanity as well.
What?
What'd you say?
Sanity? Oh, actually, sanity's a sick idea for like ghosts and crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't just like
Imagine-
on camp a house.
Imagine you go to like a haunted house and you're like, I'm a sleeping, I'm like camp up inside the house. Cause like you said ghosts don't move, do they? They like stay in one
No,
spot.
yeah, if you find a house that's haunted, it'll stay haunted till
Yeah,
like
so
forever,
it-
basically.
Imagine you find like a mansion and you're like, oh, some of these rooms are haunted and some of them are not. So like you go to a room that's not haunted, you're like, I'm gonna set up base here, and then I'm gonna try to like explore the other haunted rooms later.
It's
But at nighttime, your sanity slowly gets, or goes up or down, whatever, because there's spirits everywhere. You can hear them.
It-
I don't know.
it
doing
stays
whatever.
haunted until you pull out the poltergust.
Until you go Luigi's Mansion on them.
They start taking them out.
I really like. I think one of my favorite things about this game is that like zoom in camera. I think that's gotta be one of the creepiest things that you might be able to use, because like imagine like you set up a far distance, like Daniel was saying, like on a mountain, and like there's like high suspicion of some creature on the mountain, but you don't want to get too close. Like how creepy would it be? Like obviously you're safe because you're far away, but like looking into it, like you just see some motion of like this thing in a camera, like that's like some major creep factor, but also really cool, you know?
Yeah.
That's-
So I guess before I wrap up, I'll go over the main bosses you'll encounter throughout the story. It's not in really any particular order. So these ones are legends. Like you should legends. You might like facepalm at like 2 of them, but the first is a vampire. So it's not Dracula per se, but it's a vampire. So this is a
It's a
very
non-copyrighted vampire.
yeah. So this is
Castlevania.
it's a very fast boss and it hits really hard, right? And it can only be fought after you've bought like vampire killing items. So you can't walk in
Yeah, okay,
without
makes sense.
like a wooden stake. You won't do any damage.
But you can't kill it.
No, yeah, it'll just body you and you'll die.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick. Does it
It's
does
killed.
it
It's killed by only one thing.
Yeah.
does it speak? Like does it speak English, or is it like like a creature like I can't really like talk
It
to
doesn't
you?
matter, Alec. You're putting it down either way.
no, I'm just wondering, like when you approach it, is it like, ah yes, the researcher, like I've been watching you.
Please
or
don't
something
kill
like
me.
that?
I'm thinking since it'll be like a main plot point. It will be like a vampire that talks to you, but like as you fight, it gets more like animalistic. So it
That's
goes
sick.
more bat mode.
Oh
Like-
yes.
So then the next boss is a werewolf.
Makes sense.
The only thing I really wrote for this is that it's similar to the vampire in that you need special items to fight it. and it's not good to fight in close quarters. So this is a boss that you could trigger during a full moon, and it's vital for the plot. So the people will actively be telling you how, like, oh, this is what you need to do, but you do need to get more items to fight it. And if you fight it in a building, it'll likely sweep you. So the third boss isn't one that's mandatory for the story. It's more like a hidden boss. It's Slender Man. So he can't be defeated. He's only determined to be beaten, and which he will stop being in your game after you've caught him on camera, and he could only be photographed. So he's easy to fight once you realize he's after you, and he spawns randomly around the map. So you have no indication of when he's going to spawn or where he is, but if you get within a certain distance of him at any point, he'll start hunting you, in which it's up to you to notice him and photograph him before he kills you. And then the final boss is a Shinigami, which is a Japanese god of death.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm thinking it's invulnerable to all your attacks unless you've beaten all the bosses up to that point, except for maybe Slender Man. Like, yeah, you'd have to like use your flash stun on him. You'd have to like hit him with your stun stuff, you know?
That's
And
sick.
keep running around and keep dodging them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's my game.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. That
That's
was
a really
good
good
Real
game.
goal
That was
hunter.
That was a good finisher.
It was. All right, Lunchmates, that's it. Let us know your game designs in the comments. We'd love to steal them. I mean, read them.